Okay, let's have a look at Bitrix24 HR tools. First thing we're going to look at is discovering users within the system. I'm on the company structure page, so we can easily find people from this structure by department. It's one use of this. Secondly, we can use this to assign approvals to heads of department. So should one of these users in this team request leave, that can automatically go to the head of their department. We'll have a look at that process in a couple of minutes. I can access any of these people by clicking on their profile from this page, and we can find people by using the top search as well. So that will take me through to their page. Can then message them, have a video call with them from their profile page. So it's how we can find people. Profile pages include some of their contact information. Let's have a look at one with a bit more information on there. So include their contact information, any information that the user's added to the profile page, see what sort of groups they're in, work groups they're in, and a user can edit their own profile using the links on the right hand side. Individual users can also edit the themes of the page, so you can display different background image if you want a different image, and you can configure your notifications, so you can turn off or on those email and system notifications as required. Each user has their own drive space. So within Bitrix, you can add documents to CRM items. You can add each work group, project group has its own drive space, but we can also add personal HR documents into the drive, and those can automatically be shared with HR team and line managers. So things like appraisal documents and contract documents can be stored in your own drive space. Main features for HR and administration really are the processes. So if we go into workflows, we can see we have some standard workflows which are shipped with Bitrix. There's a couple here that we've developed ourselves. Leave approval, probably the most commonly used one. So I can request my leave, completing the form here, select annual leave and submit. You can see that now that's in progress. We just go into a user on this site, and I'm just going to switch users. So we're going to switch in the back end to the supervisor, and we can see that they've received a request for this leave. They've got the option to approve or deny that from the activity stream. They also see notifications in their workflows. If we click into the workflows page, here it is, leave request from John Smith, and we're going to approve that, and it drops out of their assignments list. And if we go back into John Smith, we can see that that's now been completed. Let's just have a quick look at the workflow itself. Leave approval. Go into let's look at the fields first of all. So you can configure the fields that appear in the form. If you want to add an additional field, something you might want to add is maybe sick note. If you want to request that somebody attaches a file, then you can add that field in and make it a mandatory field if you want, or non-mandatory. So you can configure the fields that you require people to complete in the form, and then we have the business process, the workflow that happens once the form is submitted. And this action block here is looking at the company structure that we looked at the beginning. It's looking who's the supervisor for this particular user, so that it knows in the approval process who to send that request to. So if it's approved, notification sent out to the employee to say it's approved. Based on whether it's one of these three types of approval from the drop-down list, we're going to add it to the absence chart. Can have a look at it in a second. If it's rejected, we're sending out a notification. We're changing the status to rejected. So this is a business process that you can modify yourself. It might be that in this notification you want to change some of the copy in the notification, and you can do that from within here. It doesn't require any coding at all. You want to add in an email as well as a system notification. You want to send an email, you can do that. Lots of action blocks on the right hand side you can use to improve or change this business process. Just go back into the home page. So have a quick look at another workflow. So we have a custom workflow called New Starter Onboarding. And with this workflow, we can complete the form with information about this particular user. So I'm putting in their name, their job role, the job title, the start date. I'm selecting from a drop-down list here whether they're in a manager or admin role. I'll show you what happens in the business process based on which I select there. We can select somebody who's going to be given an assignment to buddy up with this new starter, give them a certain number of leave entitlement, and we can submit that form. Some of these processes on this particular workflow probably would only work on a self-hosted instance because they do a few different things that are not available on the cloud. If we go into Mark Hope, our supervisor user, you can see that he's received this assignment straight away. So, hi Mark, you have a new buddy, swing by the office later today, please. So I've got the option now as this user to accept or refuse or even delegate. So let's accept that. Drops out of my list and we come back into this user. We can see that straight away this user's received an assignment themselves, and so this assignment is to do an induction. So I've been asked to say when that's been completed or indeed to delegate that on to another user. Let's just have a look to finish off at the workflow itself for this. It is custom, but it is very straightforward to build. This is the workflow. So when we complete the form, if we attach documents in the form, they would have uploaded the documents to the user's drive, emailed them out to this new starter as well. And then we have a drop down where we selected whether they were a manager or an admin person. This condition here then sends the process down one of these two routes. If they're a manager, they're going to receive a welcome system notification. We're going to send this request, as we saw, to somebody to be their buddy, and a little bit further down there's an acceptance or a refusal on that from that user, and then a little bit further down there's request to book the induction. There's a pause here, and then there's a request for somebody also to book a review meeting. It is straightforward to improve this. If we need to add a calendar event, we can do that. If we want to assign somebody tasks, we can do that. There's a lot of other action blocks, standard action blocks that you can use within here to build up your process. And the process for onboarding somebody will probably be a little bit more complex than this, but very simple to make, doesn't require any coding at all. So we looked at how you find users through the company structure or through search at the top, what information you can see on a profile page, how a user can change their settings, including their theme and notification, where you can go to store personal HR documents in a user's drive space, and then a couple of different processes, one which is standard for requesting leave and this one for onboarding new starters.